Hi, I'm Bianca Davis. I'm the news editor of the University Star, and we are doing candidate interviews for the 2011 ASG elections. Here with me is Will Fox, who's running for president on the Fox-Schultz campaign. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. My name is Will Fox. I'm a political science junior. I'm from Dallas, Texas. A little bit about me. I live in a messy apartment on Ranch Road 12. I have two bearded dragons as pets. I really like video games, and I really have an interest in politics. That's me in a nutshell.
All right, well, what first drew you to Texas State?
I visited Texas State actually on the exact same trip that I visited UT. And when I visited UT, I sat in a room and we were able to go on a quick tour. And the big city intimidated me a little bit, but more so, I felt that I didn't have the opportunity there to really grow myself as a person. And when I visited Texas State, the contrast was enormous. I was able to see the river, I was able to walk across campus, and one of the big things that the tour guide said was, at Texas State, you're more than a number. Now, I've heard that a million times since then, and it never seems to be disproven. I really like the environment here, I love the students, and I'm happy to be at a university like Texas State.
Why do you want to be president of Texas State University's student body?
So, I've told the story a couple times. My mother and I were sitting at orientation, and at a certain point in our conversation, she said to me, well, great job. You got into a state university. Let me know when you've really accomplished something. And so all the things that I mentioned to you, and it wasn't that mean, but, but all the things I mentioned to you before that really made Texas State stand out to me, a seed of doubt was planted into my mind. And once I actually got onto campus, once I spent my first year in my residence hall and got a taste of student leadership, that doubt was put away. Texas State University has given me so many opportunities. I am eternally indebted for the chances that I've had as a student here, and so this is going to be my last year at Texas State University, and it may sound a little cheesy and cliche, but this is my last chance to give back before I graduate, and my only real option is to write a check.
Okay, so one of your platform points, you have the Texas State Nexus.
Yes.
And part of that is the CATS list.
Mm-hmm.
So students can utilize apartment locators and other services
Right.
Already.
Mm-hmm.
What is the purpose of ASG using its resources to develop something similar?
Excellent question. So the idea behind the Texas State Nexus is not only is it providing all these different separate resources, but that it's taking those resources and housing them in one single location exclusive to Texas State students. So not only would you be able to make one click and see the apartment ratings that we're talking about, access CATS list, see professor sample lectures, but you can only participate in this wonderful dialogue we're going to have if you have a Texas State Net ID. That's what I know makes this Texas State Nexus something unique, and I really hope that it catches on next year.
What is the biggest issue facing students on campus, and can ASG fix this?
Absolutely. The biggest issue, without a doubt, is the cost of an education. That is something that all students share across the board. Every single one of us here has a different combination way that we are paying for school, whether it be financial aid, scholarships, whether mom and dad are running the credit card, it doesn't matter. We're all finding ways to pay for our school. And this is an issue that ASG sometimes tiptoes around because it's obviously not a problem that we can just outright solve. Our job as an ASG next year is to find very specific ways that we can target the cost of an education. Specifically with our platform, the cost of textbooks through CATS list, like I mentioned earlier, and by expanding our own scholarship fund. Now, once students actually go into debt, they're tasked with finding a job to pay off that debt, to pay off the large cost that it takes to come to school. And so that's why other issues like the alumni contacts, the big book of business cards so that students are able to research and find internships and jobs are also part of our platform. We feel that the cost of an education and the task of finding a job are arduous, and that ASG can indeed have an impact on those things.
How do you feel your platform fares better than your opponents?
I believe that our platform is more specific, it's more targeted, and it answers the big 5 questions that students have. Where do I live, and how do I select where I'm going to live? If I'm transporting myself back and forth from campus, where am I going to park? If I'm taking the tram, is it running efficiently? How am I selecting my classes and who is teaching them? But the most important questions, like I mentioned earlier, the cost of coming to school and then the task of finding a job once you graduate. We believe that even though we're not completely solving these issues, that the fact that we're making a concerted effort to address them next year is going to set a precedent for ASG. And so I believe that's really what sets us apart.
So I noticed on your Facebook a picture of you in a black leotard and a black wig. Can you share with us that story?
I can, and I hope that that laugh didn't just blow out the microphone. That was actually from a year ago. I was the vice president of RHA, and at our Hall Council conference training, we did All the Single Ladies dance by Beyonce. And we went to Walmart at about 3 in the morning the night before, and we had practiced the dance, and we bought these leotards that were just way too small, especially for me. And I'm a pretty big guy. They were actually Miley Cyrus brand leotards. And we danced around, and it was a big kick, but it was definitely embarrassing. And I'm just, I'm flabbergasted you found that. It's a fun photo.
That it is. And what songs are most recently played on your iPod?
Oh my goodness. So I always play Yesterday by the Beatles. And this song gives me a little bit of context and gives me a perspective on my life. I'm a little bit of a nerd, and so I don't know, maybe our viewers might not recognize this, but a very great science special from the 80s, Cosmos by Carl Sagan. And it's not a song necessarily, but a guy on YouTube actually took a little audio from that special, Cosmos, and auto-tuned it. And I know it's a little bit nerdy, but every now and again I listen to it because I think that special is actually quite beautiful.
And to wrap things up, what is your favorite thing about your opponent, AJ DeGarmo?
AJ DeGarmo is one of those people that you just want to be around, right? So when he walks into a room, people look up. People are like, "Oh, there's AJ. How can I scoot my chair a little bit closer to him?" And I think it's that magnetism that draw people to him. I think that's the reason why the people that are supporting him are doing so. And so I think that his outgoingness and his magnetism really are his strongest traits. His strongest traits, wow. Should I do that sentence again?
I think it's okay.
Okay.
Well, that concludes this segment of the candidate interviews. Thank you, Will Fox, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I appreciate you being here.